What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching Car Inside. It is a new week here on iRacing, and C-Fixed is heading to North Wilkesboro Speedway for the first time in nearly 2 years. I have not driven an official race here in the truck since I was first on the service. It's been a long time, so I'm very excited and hoping to get a couple of races under my belt here this week. We had a little help from one of our good friends over at JK Gaming, Mr. John K. He kind of gave us a lap time to compare off of. We've been feeling a little under the weather this week. Didn't get to run Darlington as much as we would like to, but nonetheless, we're here to try to provide a breakdown for you guys here this week. Going off of what his lap time was, and we're pretty consistent. His was actually a little bit quicker than mine, but it was on a better track condition, as we're running here on the moderate track state that qualifying always seems to run on, and our hot lap is an 18.930. So I'll break it down for you guys, let you watch it in real time. Running through 3 and 4, what I done on the first lap is I just ran the top. As soon as I come out of the pits, I just ran around the top, tried to get as much core temperature as I could in those tires. No surface temperature, don't want to slide them or anything, get them really hot, because you're going to need all the forward drive you can on this racetrack. It's going to be very bumpy, going to be very slick, and your lap times are going to be very inconsistent. I think anything around a 19 flat, sub 19, you're going to see could give you the pole for this week. This is our hot lap here. You see we drive straight off toward the wall, lifting early, trying to get down to the bottom, and you're actually getting back on the throttle a little before you apex, and then you see we're really working the wheel, 18.930. So setting up this hot lap here, we're just kind of lifting early, going into 3 and 4. Just letting it roll, and then kind of around the Cup Series sign here, we're going to be getting back on the gas. Don't want to work it down too much and scrub any speed, but just have a nice straight line speed headed toward the start finish line. And your reference point is going to be very hard to see. It's very tricky, but as you're aiming off into turn number 1, the point where you're going to be lifting is this First Union 400 sign here. As soon as you start to get to that sign, maybe just past it a little, you're off the throttle, and then you're on the brake. And when you get to this Holly Farm sign here, that's where you're going to start to turn in. Excuse me for a second. Alright. As you turn down here at this Holly Farm sign, you're going to be aiming as low as you can. Now, as you look here, one of my reference points that I was kind of using is this. There's a little jagged edge to the pit road, the pit exit, 2 little points there. That's kind of where we were trying to get back on the throttle. Now, not punching it all the way, but just kind of getting on it enough to kind of lift the rear end of the truck up a little and bring it around, to use a little throttle to steer the truck. Get back on it just a little, and then as we apex and hit our lowest point of the corner here, we're kind of going to point straight off toward the backstretch. We're going to hammer down, and it's very slick. But if you can hit that just right, it's very line sensitive, but if you can hit that just right, you can really pick up a lot of speed going down the back. Now, going down the back, you're going to be looking for this mellow yellow sign. That's going to be our lift point. We're going to get on the brakes, and then kind of the same thing here. Around the Holly Farm sign, we're going to start turning in all the way down to the bottom. You see we're dragging brake. We were out of the brake a little, then we drug a little more right before we got back on the gas. So as you start to apex right on the very bottom, you're going to hit the bottom and you're going to hug it. You're going to get back into throttles just a little, and then you're going to pick it up just a little more. Now, the thing that I was kind of looking for to mash the gas flat and really get back on it was these 2 lines here for pit entry. Actually, I believe that may be the restart zone. So when you get to this restart zone, that was kind of the area to where I was getting fully back on the throttle, driving off the exit, 18.930. But the settings we were using for this hot lap was a 12-to-1 steering ratio. Actually had +2 in the offset. The steering wheel, the generic input with +0, actually had the wheel setting over to the left a little. I felt like I was turning the wheel too much, so I went +2 with that. 70% brake bias. I had the brake bias cranked up. Didn't want to use too much brake, but I really wanted to drag the brake. It seemed like if I turned it down, it would really slow the truck up too much, or it would try to kick the back end around. And you don't need a whole lot of brake here, especially in the uphill section of the track. So it suited me a whole lot better to turn the brake bias up to 70. Now, that being said, for the race, I will probably turn the brake bias down somewhere around 60% and just try to use less braking on the long runs. And, we'll adjust that as the week goes on and as we get a few races under our belt and see what's most comfortable for us. But for now, we'll stick to 12 to 1, 70% for qualifying, +2 offset. Probably keep the +2 offset for the race. Maybe jump up to a 14 to 1 steering ratio and see how that fares for us for the race setting. But as always, appreciate you guys watching Car Inside. If you would, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And hopefully we'll see you guys out on the track. Thanks for watching.